Here are 10
useless facts
about Mohg, Lord of Blood. Number 3 will make you... But who is Mohg, Lord of Blood? In Elden Ring, he is a royal-born omen, born to Queen Marika the Eternal, and the first Elden Lord, Godfrey, alongside his brother Morgott. He is known for abducting the Empyrean, Miquella the Kind, and he is an optional endgame boss found at the end of the Mohgwyn Dynasty Mausoleum, guarding the way to the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. He has 18,389 health, and enters Phase 2 at 50% health, inflicting blood loss on the Tarnished thrice, regaining about 30% of his health, and sprouting a pair of jet black wings. In Phase 2, many of his existing attacks have new follow-ups, and he gains new attacks. But without further ado, let's get into the facts. Number 10. Mohg's head tracks his current target. This is most noticeable when you engage in a staring contest with him. Number 9. Mohg's mouth moves when he makes noises, which is a notable departure from previous FromSoft titles. This is most notable when he performs his countdown to Phase 2. Number 8. This is less of a fact about Mohg and more a fact about his boss arena. It is called a mausoleum, so just how many tombstones are in his arena? For our purposes, we'll count each separate piece of stonework as one tombstone, no matter how big or small it is. Number 7. Mohg's flying attack in Phase 2 doesn't always have to follow up into a downwards charge. He can just fall straight down if you're not in range of him, but you would have to be pretty far away. Number 6. The wings Mohg grows in Phase 2 are part of his hitbox. I had trouble hitting them specifically with anything but a bow, so I have no idea when this would ever come up in a real fight. Number 5. Mohg has an attack where he steps forward, swings his weapon widely, then steps forward and swings his weapon widely again. For some reason, this move travels further in Phase 2 than it does in Phase 1. Number 4. Ironically, the Lord of Blood is susceptible to bleed, but he takes less damage from it than others. Number 3. Mohg has the effect of the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, a talisman named after him, and it makes him deal more damage if blood loss has occurred in the vicinity recently. Notably, this works even if you are the one bleeding him. Number 2. While performing his Phase 2 transition, in addition to recovering his health, Mohg will also recover 40 of his poise, independent of natural poise regeneration. Number 1. This video was actually a boss challenge video in disguise. That's right, the background footage was me fighting Mohg with nothing but a +0 Nobles S-Stock and some heals to survive the Phase 2 transition. Of course, I die in one hit because I'm naked and rune level 1. And, you don't know what this challenge has done to me. At first, I didn't even know if the fight was possible. You might think that every fight can be won if you just dodge every attack and hit the enemy when it's safe to hit them, you know, get good. But Mohg is different. He leaves Bloodflame on the ground constantly, which poses a serious threat to a character as weak as mine. My character bleeds in just 2 ticks of Bloodflame, meaning that having my movements hampered by apparently random blood loss could result in my death. I had to determine how much of a problem the Bloodflame would be during the fight. Through trial and error, I learned that the positioning of the Blood Flame had rhyme and reason to it. It could be controlled. Mohg generates Blood Flame in two ways in Phase 2. Either he makes it using an incantation, or it splashes off his weapon in trails. Whenever he would swing his weapon, it would arc off his weapon away from him, which meant that as long as I stayed close to him, I would rarely be endangered by Blood Flame on the ground. But that's not all. One of Mohg's most prominent attacks in Phase 2 is one where he flies up into the air, throws Blood Boon, and then charges down at the player before continuing to attack on the ground. If the player stands in the same general area for all of this attack, this means that they are fighting Mohg in the same place where the Blood Boon was thrown, meaning they have to be careful about their positioning. However, I found that since Mohg charges down at the player, if the player moves between when Mohg throws his Blood Boon and when he charges down, the battle would continue away from the ground effects. This was a huge discovery, because it meant that moving in certain ways could make the fight much more consistent. It meant that if I died, it was because I had messed up, not because the game was being weird or random or buggy or there was something that the players could never understand. No. However, this is where my discoveries ended. At a certain point, every challenge has to be met with sheer will, tenacity, and hard work. This was no exception. There are some people who think that just making a fight take longer does not equate to difficulty. And to that, I say,
bullshit.
I have done a few challenges of this nature at this point, so I can say that this challenge was my hardest one yet. Despite fighting this boss before, both on normal and challenge runs, I was not prepared. For context, you might remember when I did this challenge with Radagon using the same rapier and all, but these challenges were worlds apart. Radagon has 13,000 HP, meanwhile Mohg effectively has almost 10,000 more HP than that. Radagon can be parried, Mohg cannot be parried. Since my damage is horrible with a +0 weapon, this means that a lot of my damage comes from critical hits. But since I can't parry Mohg, every critical hit that I got was earned by hitting him to lower his poise, bit by bit. This gets worse when you realize that Mohg's Phase 2 moveset has many attacks that leave very little room for the player to punish them, meaning that the fight is way longer for anyone with a weaker weapon. In Phase 2, his weapon gains a bleed effect, he deals more damage with each attack, and worst of all, he takes less damage. Dealing less damage per hit definitely dragged the fight out. For comparison, I also beat Mohg with a +0 greatsword and the use of Giant Hunt, and the fight was less than half the duration, despite being under similar conditions. The choice of weapon and the use of Ashes of War really makes a difference. Alright, so I'm 80% into this thing, and I don't really know what to do with it. I'm tired. But, like I said, I'm mostly done already. You can clearly see that there's no question of the legitimacy because you can see messages and bloodstains. You can see that I get hit like twice by Blood Flame throughout the duration of the fight. So I'm just going to put this thing on 4x real quick and speed through it, and yeah, you'll get to see the ending real soon. show me on the call where I fucking touched it. I guess it must have been really delayed on that. Wait! Oh my fucking god, I finally did it. Holy shit, that took years, dude. Like, unironically, that actually took, like, years. Holy fucking shit. Man, that sucked. Alright, let's never do that again.